Now, podcasting around the world, this is Zero Context.
Do you find these help, the cat things?
No.
Oh.
They look cool. I'm just gonna. They look cool, but they're I really don't think they do much. Like like that thing. I don't really think it affects it too much.
Yeah.
Your volume's good.
Sweet.
Cool. Alright, everyone. Welcome back to Zero Context. Yeah, I'm here with Jaiden. Is this going to be like a back to back? Because when are you releasing your podcast?
It's going to be a little while because I think I'm going to get maybe like 10 episodes like backlogged. And then I'll start releasing it. So I think I've only got about 5 at the moment. So we're about halfway.
Okay, no, that's good.
So probably another month or 2 yet.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. No, you're because that's smart. Because when we started Zero Context, we did it like one episode we release it, another episode release it. So this is episode 11, and we started this thing 2 years ago. So it's like it's taken a while for us to get here. So.
Yeah.
But you're going to be, I think you're the 3rd or 4th videographer on this podcast, which is funny because there are 2 more videographers that I would like to come on. I've reached out to one of them, but there's another one I want to ask. Mm-hmm. And they're both named Jaiden, spelt the same way.
Oh, really?
Actually, no, 2 of them spelt the same way. So there's Jaiden, I forgot what his last name is. He shoots for Shami's videographer.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, Jaiden and then Jaiden Hoskin. Do you know him?
Yep, know them both, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd love to get them on. The reason why I want to get Jaiden Hoskin on is because he's the first videographer, like freelance videographer I met. And he's like, kind of like showed me like, hey, this is actually possible. Even though I met him for like one day, like just seeing him do his thing was fucking wild. And I'm like, okay, I want to kind of like pursue this. So,
he's amazing. Like even with all the cars and everything that he does as well.
Yeah, he's big into motocross. Is that what he's called? The bike stuff. Yeah, he does a heap of them. But like, it's just wild. Like it's just like seeing him like a few years ago because I haven't seen him since like 2018, and by that point he'd been doing it for maybe like 4 or 5 years. So it's like so I'd love to get him on eventually. But thank you for coming on. This is really great. Like I said, we're doing like back-to-back podcasts. So what's your podcast called again?
Big Business Energy.
Big Business Energy. So yeah, once that comes out, you guys got to go check that out because you're bringing on a few of your clients, aren't you?
Yeah, so that was the goal, is that I sort of was lucky enough to have this, I guess, network of people that I could sort of reach out to that own their own business and that could tell their story and give a bunch of tips and tricks about it. So that's sort of the little niche that I then sort of created for that podcast, where I just want people to be able to share their story, but then also share some cool tips that hopefully some people can take away from it. And it's been really, really cool, and I've enjoyed it, and I just get to meet some like really cool people. So
that's sick. No, that's awesome, dude. That's like that's what I like about podcasts. You can just bring on like whoever the fuck you want, pretty much.
Right? Exactly. So, especially when it's yours and you can be like, you can come on. Like,
no, exactly. But you're doing this out of your studio that you've just opened, built.
That's it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Luxe Studios. So it's basically based in Newstead in Brisbane, and it's like a little content creation space that's also have like a full kitted out, I guess, podcast studio. And it's been great. Like it's all acoustically treated and it looks pretty and all that sort of stuff. So we've got some really cool podcasts that are being filmed in there, and hopefully we can just sort of keep growing that and grow it into something cool.
Yeah, that's cool, man. How long was the idea of building a studio in your mind for?
I mean, from the moment like I started my own business, I've always wanted to have a studio space of sorts. But I guess when the opportunity arose, it was very much, how can I say it? I literally worked for like a client, and then the opportunity sort of fell into my lap. And instead of always like thinking about the opportunity, I'm like, it's right in front of me. Do I either want to take the risk? Yes, it's going to be a bit of an investment. And do I want to take it and run with it? Or do I want to like just talk about it for the next, who knows, probably an extra 2 years before I actually fucking action on that. So I bit the bullet and did it and haven't looked back since. So
did you see like a bit of like a niche in the market? Like this is a good opportunity to move into. There's not a whole lot of people doing it the way you want to do it. Was that kind of what you were thinking?
It's weird. I thought there was a niche, and then I started getting more and more into it. And I think the podcast has definitely been like the biggest niche part. It's definitely been the biggest attractor of the studio. But the it's weird. Like once you start social in that space and you start socializing, you start looking at other studios, and then you just start getting a lot more content from all the other studios because you're looking at that type of content all the time online.
Yeah.
So you start seeing all the other studios around, and you're like, okay, there's actually a lot more than I thought, and it's actually a lot more saturated than I thought. And then you start talking to other studio owners, and they're talking about like what they're doing. I'm like, shit, I'm not doing that. Like I need to, I need to get on that. You know, like
Is there anything that you would like to add to the studio that's not in there at the moment, or?
Look, I'm incredibly grateful for the space, and the idea of it is we didn't want it to be like every other studio. We wanted it to be like this almost like luxe apartment feel. So you walk into like a penthouse.
That's
apartment.
actually what I thought when we went when you had the opening night. That I walked in, I'm like, this actually just feels like just a bougie apartment.
Perfect.
So
exactly. So that's the route we wanted to take with it, because we didn't have a lot of the other features that like a traditional studio would offer. Like, and I think I'd love to bring that vibe eventually to a bigger studio space that can offer a lot more, if that makes sense. And that's on the ground level, so we can bring in larger productions that can bring in like cars and things like that.
yeah, no, that'd be sick. No, that's cool. We already mentioned it on your podcast, but like, I'll just so we can chat it on both channels. Like, take us back to the start with you like wanting to become a content creator. Like, what was it actually that like made you want to push into this kind of industry?
Yeah, I mean, it depends how far back we want to go, but essentially it all started when I was like that photo kid at school. So I was always known as like, you know, the sports days and that, I'd take the photos. And then I was like, all these parties are happening in the older kids. I was like, I want to get an invite, but then I wasn't ever like super popular in my grade, but I wasn't like super nerdy. I was like in the middle. So I was like, okay, what can I do to get invited to these older kids' parties? And then I started being like, I'll do the photos for these parties. And so I started going to these parties and got all the goss and everything while I was taking the photos. So then I'd come to school on the Monday and have all the goss ready from this party.
You hear what Becky did over the weekend?
Yeah, literally. Yeah, basically. And then, that's how it all started. Fell in love with it. And then a couple people were like, okay, we're going to pay you for this. Like, how much do you want? And I was like, I can get paid for this?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And then from there, I like just didn't stop. I was like, okay, year 11, did a course at TAFE, literally just up the road here from you. And went there and studied sort of like media. And then that gave me a little taste. And I met so many incredible people that like I still socialize within the industry. In fact, one of them, out of the blue, just hit me up today on LinkedIn being like, it's been so long. What are you doing? Like, what are you up to? I've seen you like crush it on socials, but like, what's going on? We should catch up. So it's like a super small network of how it all works. Awesome. And then from there, like Samantha Wicks and that, you would have met at the party and all that. So I've known her for years, and that's how I met her, is originally back then. Yeah. And it's just everyone's all kept in like this little circle now how we all keep tight. Yeah,
no, that's cool, dude. No, that's cool. And I feel like because we spoke about this already before, but like you and me, like, you know, I feel like I'm more like real estate heavy, and you're like very much like in the model industry. Definitely. Did it take a bit of time for you to like find like that's what you enjoy doing the most, or did it kind of like fall into your lap naturally?
Yeah, well, I think it's where I started. So like once I sort of finished uni and did all that bullshit, I sort of then went into the marketing role for a home builder. And so from there, I was involved with houses and building and all of that all day. So I was very familiar with it. So naturally, when I went to go do my own thing, building companies, real estate, all of that was sort of the natural progression into that when I started doing my own company. So that's sort of where it started, but it's never really what I wanted to do. I was sort of getting more into the fitness area. I sort of loved the social aspect of the people and doing like brands and I guess products, and that's sort of where my real love came in. So then I just sort of started diverting off into more of that work. Yeah. And then I started only posting that work. So then because I only wanted to gravitate towards that work, so I'm only going to post about that work and then hide the real estate work that I was sort of doing. But at the time as well, it's also that balance of also there's an income, and then those industries typically pay really well. I had some really great relationships in those industries that I didn't necessarily want to burn. So when the opportunity arises to do videos for them, I'd still take them and all things like that.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I think I mentioned to you that this was going to be my last year in real estate. I wasn't going to do it after this year. But literally yesterday I had a company, I won't go into too much detail, like a photography company reached out and they said, hey, we don't do videos. Could you supply that for our company? And I'm like, sure, why not? Like it's work, so you just got to take it when you can. So
it's incredible it's one of the only industries I feel at the moment that isn't like heavily like UGC based content. So like with products and everything, I'm constantly having that battle of creating high quality content, which is what I do. But then they're like, oh, we're seeing better return in UGC, which is totally, I get it. Like that's
Yeah.
the point of their business, right? Is that they want the lowest cost possible content for the greatest return.
Yes.
So I totally get it. But now I'm competing with that. Whereas real estate, obviously, then you've still got like they're happy to pay a premium to get a premium product.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, the good thing. But yeah, I kind of shot myself in the foot with that one.
No, that's okay. You know what? Like, I only recently realized that clients are actually willing to pay like top dollar for a top dollar product. Like, it's taken me years to kind of like realize that actually is possible, because you throw figures around, you're like, fuck, like no one's gonna pay for this. Like, it's just something that I think about a lot. So
I still do it, but I think and it's, the more I socialize, especially with like bigger like companies and things like that as well, and bigger people, like for example like Andrew from like Share Story and all those, like prime example of like they do huge projects, and then I see that and I'm like, he's like, there is always someone who is willing to pay whatever price that you're willing to charge. You just have to find that right client.
yeah.
And it's just all about finding the right client that's going to be happy to pay that. But I think we also do it to ourselves, where we undervalue ourselves and the amount of work and the quality of work and stuff that we bring to the table. I do it all the time. I'm like, there's no way they're going to pay for this. And then you find out like 6 months later, when they're not working with you anymore, they're using someone else who is charging double what you used to charge. And so it's like that never was about the money. Like, so.
Bit of a gray area.
Definitely.
With like, obviously when you start a business, you need to like start having like a bit of a business mindset. Did you, I don't know if this was right, did you study business or something like that, or did you just like learn as you went along? I can't remember if that was what you said.
Yeah. So I went to uni and did a dual degree in business and film.
Yeah.
Would I say it helped?
Yeah.
Debatable. Literally, like, it's great for like corporate. If you're like in the corporate world and you want to run this big conglomerate of a business, 100%. But I feel if it's like a small business, entrepreneur, startup kind of vibe, good fucking luck. Yeah. Good luck. Like, until you're actually in there and you do it yourself and you have to do everything yourself, and just the marketing and things like that as well is just next level, and how much of everything you have to do, like that consistency.
Yeah.
You'd know. Like, it's bloody tough. Like,
yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
No, it actually can get pretty rough sometimes. Like, I was thinking about this before, just before you came here, and I thought, like, because I was thinking about a few questions to ask you. I'm like, where do you want the business to go? And the reason why I asked that is, like, personally for me, time is as much as I hate to say it, but like, I'm still working. Like, time equals money.
Yes.
And it's like I've got to work a certain amount of hours and to film and edit, and then I got to deliver a product.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get to a point where, like, whether it's this podcast or whether it's something that I build, where like the time, like, let's say hypothetically, I'm charging $2,000 for a video to go out and film for a day. I want to get to a point where like doing that is not worth my time.
100%.
Like that's like the mentality I have going forward with my businesses.
100%. And I'm exactly the same way. For me, like, and it's weird because I've heard both sides of the argument to what I'm about to say, but I wanted to diversify myself as much as possible. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have Shareworthy, then I'm going to have Luxe Studios, then I'm going to have this and this and this, and have all these branches, and then all those branches would stream into my one sort of income that I can get at the end of all those, and hopefully it's a big, large sum.
Yeah,
be nice, right? But that means if necessarily one of those would go down.
Sorry, my cat's trying.
Yeah, I was just like, what is that moving in the corner?
I'm just going to let her in real quick. Sorry.
Yeah. One of those streams come down, that I've always got the other one to back it up. But especially with, I don't know, I just feel how the world's going these days, and with the introduction of AI and all these new apps and developments and that I'm never 100% certain on this industry.
Yeah.
And then even from there, now this is actually the first time I've actually mentioned this, and whether it's going to come to fruition or not, I have no idea. But I've actually even started doing my commercial real estate license and things like that as well.
Yep.
Because eventually I would love to then, whether it do like commercial real estate or be able to do like fit outs and things like that, something a bit more permanent where I know like that industry's always going to be around.
Yeah.
And that is like where I started. That's always what I've like really enjoyed, is like, you know, even with the studio, being able to like fit that whole thing out myself and like seeing the vision of it and all that and making that come to life.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to do that to other, you know, whether it's, even if we just specialize in like studios or whatever it may be, something cool. You know, I just feel like that is going to be around for a lot longer, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Who knows?
let's talk about that, because as soon as you walked in, you mentioned this to me about AI coming in, and I thought I've had this. So for those who don't know, like the concern is like AI might take our videography jobs away, essentially. And
Yeah.
I've had the concern for photographers, definitely. Messi, what are you doing? She should be all good. I've had the concern for photographers, not necessarily videos, but from what you just told me, I don't know if you want to repeat it again, but like that actually made me kind of like think, oh fuck.
Yeah, I mean, for me, with not necessarily the video side in terms of like the actual like managing the camera, like being on the camera, but the editing aspect of it, and obviously like charging per hour for editing, and that is a huge chunk of like how we make up our pricing and things.
Yeah.
And it does contribute a lot as well.
I'm sorry, you're not allergic to cats, are you?
No, I'm not.
Messi,
She's so cute though.
you know what's funny?
She'll probably smell all the dogs on me. That's what it is.
You know, she hates my parents. She like literally like she'll hiss at them and scratch them like she would not do what you're doing.
Oh, really?
She's doing to you right now. Yeah.
No, she's very cute.
Yeah, she does pop in from time to time. Anyways, yeah. So like the process, you don't think is going to change. It's more the editing side.
The editing side, 100%. Like, you know, with AI and all the generative fill and like the text to editing features, like then you could literally have anyone, no matter what industry they're in, as long as if they can explain what they want, the editor or the editing software to be able to do, it can do it.
Yeah.
Even down to their style. If they want a certain style that they want, that AI will eventually learn and develop their style, and it'll be able to improve it and make it better.
Yeah.
And it just keeps learning on itself. Like literally the owners of ChatGPT, they said that they make no money off ChatGPT.
Oh, really?
Once they get to a certain stage, they're going to ask ChatGPT how we can make this into $1 billion thing. And then the ChatGPT will come up with a good enough answer to be able to then make it its own money.
Yeah,
like it's super weird. Like that's how clever this thing is getting. And now they're in like one of the top growing companies in the entire world.
Yeah. The fact that it's free is a bit like, I mean, they could easily charge for it. There is a paid version.
There's a paid version, and like it's just one stream of like ChatGPT is just one. They have so many things for so many different things now. Of like, you literally you name it, they've pretty much got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just crazy how that world is developing so quick. So I'm kind of scared in that aspect of it. You know, we were discussing before as well. Even for probably don't want to mention this actually because it's probably going to cut us out of business. But there's literally apps now that real estates can pay a monthly subscription for, which is like $49 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like super cheap, or $79, and then they literally go through and the app will show you diagrams on your phone and be like, stand here, walk towards this, grab this shot in the kitchen, grab this shot in the master.
Yeah.
And within 40 seconds after they film that, they have a complete edit, royalty free, that they can upload there on the spot, and it taken them 15 minutes to film.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you compete with that? Then charging or wanting to charge like a premium price. Obviously, the quality and the everything like that will vary, but that's now. Imagine in like 3 years.
Yeah. No, that's right now, definitely not. I think.
Yeah.
Like if
we got time.
We got time, yeah. Like if you and I were to go into a property and film it, like it would obviously be dramatically different to what like an AI tool could do now, because there's like there's certain things you look out for, the stylized transitions and focusing on certain things. Like that stuff, again, right now, this could change in 3 years, but right now that's not possible.
I agree.
It's just a bit out there. And like I sent you a video the other day, and we were talking about over Instagram about this new way of basically creating dynamic shots with things.
Yeah, so
this was this room that I sent you like when I was flying around. So essentially what it is, it's like you walk around with the camera and you kind of got to like get like every object from like a medium to high to low angle. And then you put it into a program. Mind you, like that clip took like an hour to process until I could play with it.
Yeah,
so it was like, I just let it like sit there and it was doing its thing. But again, that's another way, like if a real estate agent or, you know, a property developer or something wanted to do that, if they really wanted to do that and learn it, they could do it. Like it's, again, we shouldn't be talking about this. But it's I think it was something, we just got to be prepared for it for when it does happen, because it's a bit wild. And the Photoshop generative, I think I nearly said it right. Generative,
you did well.
Generative AI, or the generative fill, whereas like you draw around a subject and say, hey, I want a campfire or something. It's like, it's actually doing, Photoshop can now do what it does in the movies, how everyone thinks it actually works.
It's insane, literally. Like, even with like, I've seen like video AI stuff now where like, I remember like, for example, I would shoot literally like a fireplace at a house that I would used to shoot in real estate.
Yeah.
And I wanted to use After Effects to then place like a real fire on that. So you've got like the fire coming off the fire pit.
Yeah.
Because they're not gonna let me light the fire. So then I'd digitally replace it on there. Now you can literally be like, you know, place a fire, like just type out place a fire on the fire pit and it will do it all for me. I don't have to sit there and fucking manually track this thing. And,
oh, wait. This is video.
Yeah.
Whoa. What program's this?
Yeah. I'll send it to you after. But like,
Okay.
there's like video AI stuff where you can literally just type it in there.
Oh, okay. That's a bit scary.
This is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting really creepy. Yeah.
Have you seen that new AI tool where it's like you can just film a subject or someone walking and it replaces them with a 3D character?
That's hectic.
I got to send that one to you.
Yeah.
That one's wild. Like it replaces with like a robot and then a monster.
Wow.
And it's like it replaces the background as well. So it's kind of like content aware fill on After Effects. It's kind of like that effect roughly around the subjects, but it's pretty good.
That's hectic. Wow. This is what I mean. Like, and this is happening so quick. It's evolving so quick because again, it's just learning off itself. So it just improves so quick. But like there's literally ads at the moment that I've seen on TV where you'll see and you'll think,
oh my God, I'm sorry. Can you go away?
You think it's like a model and it turns out like they've just 3D'd, like not 3D'd, but like animated this person, but they look so lifelike now and you're like, this is crazy. Like, you know, and you can tell slightly that they're like fake, like the eyes will be a little bit too big for the head or something like that. And so they've done it on purpose where...
What's it called? It's the uncanny valley. There's a bit of uncanny valley there.
Yeah. There is a word for it. I know what you mean. Like there's like that real...
It looks real, but there's something off about it. Yeah.
And it's just getting crazy. Like there's literally like Instagram pages now of like, there'll be like a chick sitting in like the middle of Paris. The whole image is totally fake. It's all AI. You would swear that image is real. You would look at this person and be like, that is the most incredible image I've ever seen of like someone just retouching someone really, really nice sitting in the middle of Paris. The whole entire thing is fake. It's all done through AI.
Yeah, well, it's beneficial for me because I suck at Photoshop. So it's like, oh, I can actually do like the ideas that I've wanted to do for 4 or 5 years. I probably could have learned how to do it, but mind you,
it's honestly so much easier. Like even, do you know Amanda Campione? She's like insane, like product photographer.
Sounds familiar.
In Brisbane.
Yeah,
insane. So she's incredible, but on her Instagram, she'll often show you like the amount of Photoshop work that goes into like creating these really clean like hero product shots.
Yeah. All the layers and everything, like in Photoshop, Okay.
Like she'll show you like, so she'll have like the bottle, like she does a lot of like beauty products and skin products. So it'll be like the beauty product and then she uses all these props and then she'll add like, you know, if it's got like strawberry flavored, she'll add in all the strawberries around. Now she'll literally like not worry about any of that shit. She'll just have the clean like plate of the product. And then she'll be like to the AI, like give me a strawberry that's falling out of the sky. And it matches like the velocity. So it's out of focus. It's got the depth. It's got the motion blur to it and everything. And it just looks amazing, but it's all fake, but it matches the lighting and everything. And I'm like, this is insane.
So she started to adapt to that. She's not really wanting to do it the old way anymore. She's just like embracing it, or?
I think it's the best of both worlds. Like she'll use both, and I think they both have a time and a place. Because at the moment, like generative AI is great, but I've heard that once you sort of start to blow those up onto huge campaigns in terms of like billboards or something, then it starts to lose its, like for commercial use, it's very, at the moment.
Yeah. Is that because, like when you say commercial use, do you mean because like with, let's say Midjourney, for example, like those images are sourced from somewhere, like someone actually probably owns an asset that's in that image, if you know what I mean?
It's actually a great question. I actually don't know how, like what's the legalities around it, actually. That's a really good question.
Yeah, because there's surely they'll introduce laws soon because you got the voice AI that can replace, singers.
Yes.
With, like, people who have passed away, like Juice WRLD or something like that. I've seen a bunch of them on TikTok. There surely will reach a point where there will be laws where you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like I did it the other night with Kanye. I made Kanye West sing Ghosts and Stuff by Deadmau5.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's hectic.
And it took me 5-10 minutes. It was like, and I didn't even know what I was doing. I'm like, oh, it worked. So it's like,
there's literally been like scammers that have been doing that as well. Have you seen that? With like they'll have like a daughter ring the mum and being like, Mom, like I've been kidnapped. Like
Oh,
you need
what
to
the fuck?
you need to like transfer like and it would have all the same emotions in the voice of what the daughter would, but they've just been like, you know, she would like answer the phone and they've got enough of like her voice clipping to be able to like
Yeah.
call her mum then and like scam her into all this money.
Yeah.
And the mum's like flipping out because they're like saying like, Mum, you can't tell anyone because if you do, like they're gonna kill me. Like, you know, you just need to transfer the money into this
What the
account.
fuck?
Yeah, and then people are getting
it's smart but horrible,
right? Like just scammed out of all this money, and you're like, fuck. Like, so there's lots of good, but there's also a lot of bad for all of this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Right. I'll tell you something that's really fucked up. This isn't related really to anything we're talking about, and this is very off subject. There was someone who told me this. I don't personally know this person, but this woman, this elderly lady, got a call. And basically said, hey, we're from the bank, yada, yada, yada. Just gave them this bullshit story. And just said, you need to give us 25 grand in cash. We'll be at the front to collect it in 45 minutes. Please don't tell anyone about this. It's for security reasons, yada, yada, yada. And took out that money. I don't know how much, but it was a lot of money. Dude walked up and apparently as soon as she saw the guy come up, she realized it was a scam. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Yeah. So it's like, you got to be careful out there. That was really random. It was just something I was told like maybe like 6 months ago. It was really bizarre.
it's hectic. Eh? Oh, I think they're getting really, really clever. Like, yeah, off topic again, but I remember one of my first jobs, I was a barista at a coffee shop, and it was right next to like all the car yards were like right next to it as well.
Yeah.
And I remember I had this like old lady come up and she's like, I'm just sitting down for a coffee. And I'm like, is everything all good? She looked a bit flustered. I was like, you know, so I went and got my stuff and I sat down and sat with her while she sat having a coffee. Older lady, I was like, you know, make sure you're all good. And she proceeded to tell me the story of the car yard. She went to go, she got a phone call like 2 days ago saying, hey, just a reminder, you're overdue for a service. You need to come and drop your car off to go get serviced.
Yep.
And they're like, at this time, at this date, no worries, I'll see you there. So then we're today on the date where she had to drop her car off, she goes to the mechanics and they're like, we've never called you and we don't have a booking under your name, but you can leave your car here. We're happy to service it. So she leaves her car there and gets it serviced. She returns home and her whole house had been robbed.
Whoa.
And
what?
her husband had like passed away just the year before. And he was like a war veteran, stole all his medals, stole like so much stuff. And when the police were touring back through the house, they found this giant machete in the closet. And I remember them saying, I was like, oh, like, why did they have a machete? Like, they knew no one was home. And they're like, yeah, that's in case you managed to come home. And they're like,
fuck.
like, this is hectic. And I'm like, she's like 75 years old.
Yeah.
Like, what is she going to do? Like,
That's actually terrifying. What the fuck?
I've always remembered that to this day, and like I felt so bad for her. Like she literally like lost everything, the poor bugger. So
Yeah, that's gonna be me. It's made me want to get like cameras around here. I'm obviously not going to say what suburb I live in, but it's I'm in the community group for this place, and yeah, same thing. So up the road, like last week or the week before, kids walking around with machetes. It's
so bad,
it's
man.
fucked, man.
Just general, like the youth crime, the crime in general, like is just and the violence, man. Like it's just fucking insane. Like
the fact that nothing's really done about it either is kind of frustrating. Like I know like they get like slapped on the wrist sometimes, but like.
Well, you see the guy who like stole that car from Toowoomba, and he stole the car from Toowoomba, ran through and like crashed it and everything, and literally put so many people's lives in danger. The next day, his dad already paid his bail out on jail.
Fucking. And
he was like 15, 16, and like now he's out with like a slap on the wrist, like nothing happened, no consequence. He hasn't learned anything from it.
Yeah.
And now he started like posting on Instagram stories and being like, oh yeah, the QP couldn't keep me in jail, like, you know, and all this. And I'm like, bro, why are you proud about this?
If we want to be really, really dark here, do you remember?
I'm always keen to get that.
When was it? It would have been February or March. The story of that girl who went to a friend's sleepover.
Oh, dude.
And they tortured the fuck out of her.
I've never had my blood boil so much.
I was furious. I was fuming.
Yeah.
It's. I don't have any kids, but like,
I couldn't
fuck
believe
me.
it.
I'd be
I'd
be in jail.
They're literally like full on stabbing her, and I'm like, what the? And like slicing her, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, and the more importantly, that was a guy filming that.
Was it?
That was a guy. So they said it was like a girl, and then there was a guy who was like filming it. And I'm like, bro, you are the most scum. Like, how you think that is okay, and more importantly, how you just sit there and watch that, like, unbelievable.
That's foul, dude. But like, again, nothing happened with that, and like the people in the area kind of like took things. Do you know what happened to the house?
Yeah, no, didn't they go and like raid the house or
They
something?
fucking burnt it down.
Did they?
Yeah. It got raided. By the end, like at the start, it kind of looked like, Breaking Bad, Walter White's house at the end of the series. It looked like that.
Wow.
Like people were breaking in. Like people were breaking in, and there were other people who were breaking in at the same time, just like fucking it up.
That doesn't even look good.
Well, yeah, you know what's fucked? It wasn't actually their house. They were living there, but like it was like they were renting, so it was someone else's house. So I feel bad in that regard.
Yes.
But again, it's just fucked. But again, nothing happened to the kids. As far as I'm concerned, they fled. They're not in Queensland anymore.
That's so bad. Hey, like,
sorry, I thought I heard something. But yeah, so it's just like when things like that happen, it's like,
yeah,
what do we do? And like the laws aren't really. I don't really watch the news a whole lot, but I don't really see the laws changing to like be more strict on the youth crimes that are happening.
And it's also like, I would have loved to know, like, what happens if that chick did try to defend herself?
Yeah.
Like, if that chick defended herself and, let's say, ended up stabbing them, and then they died, God forbid, like, but if they passed away or died or whatever, like, what happens to her? Because it's self-defense, but it's like, she also just, like, harms two people. Like, what happens? The law's fucked in that way. Like, in America, it's just 100% self-defense.
Yeah.
Here, it's like, no, you can go away for life. Like,
yeah. It's, well, I don't know if you want to talk about the whole guns thing, but like, yeah, it's self-defense. Like, like going to jail for self-defense is pretty foul. Like, and the fact that it's so big here is pretty appalling.
I agree. Like, like for me, for example, like, no matter what it is, I feel like I'm gonna go down fighting no matter what. Yeah. Like, I feel like you can try, but it's like, I'm gonna make it as fucking tough as possible for you. Like, make it so hard, and I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna be a bit. I don't care. I'll use anything around me. I'll fucking bite. I'll scratch. I don't care what it is. Let's go. Like, I'm not going down without a fight. But, it's just crazy how like then you could totally get into trouble for it as well. Like,
have you ever been in one of those situations where you've had to stick them up?
I mean, like, I do like Muay Thai and boxing like every Tuesday and Thursday and that. I've been doing that since like February because literally because of this. So like literally all the crime that was happening around my area and all this sort of stuff, I was like, I just want to be able to actually walk around confidently knowing that I'm going to be okay. So I started doing that, and then that was like fucking intense, and I'm like, wow, which has been great, and I feel a lot more confident about it. But no, not necessarily. I've had a few cases where like I've walked like late home in like the city, and I'm like, this feels like, you just get that feeling in your stomach where like there'll be someone walking towards you, and you're like, I'm just gonna go on the opposite side of the street, you know? Yeah. Because at the same time, just as much as like, oh, you think you want to defend yourself, you also don't know what people can do. They can have knives, they can be fucking the most Brazilian jiu-jitsu MMA master, you know, they could have guns, they could have a gang, like who knows what it could be. So it's also like, if I can avoid it altogether as well, that's also going to be the number one goal, right? Like,
did you ever see that video of the guy in the valley that got stabbed in the neck?
No, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to see it, but I can send it to you if you want.
I mean, I feel like we've got this thing going on at the moment where we just send each other the most fucked up shit. Like,
see, my Instagram reels is just people hurting themselves. I'm like, Jaiden would like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there was would have been about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. There was two groups of people, and there was I think it was in the train station, like, you know how like in the valley you come up, and so I think it was around there. Yeah, wow. And they were like fucking going at each other and all this, and then one of them clearly had a knife, and he was going like this to the other group, and one of the guys was going like this, like going forward and going back to dodge it.
Oh no!
So like, he was pretty quick, so he was dodging it. But then there was this poor guy who came out from the back of the group, walked right up to the front. Like, I don't even think he had his fists up or anything. Didn't try and defend himself. One thing, that was it, done.
Oh my god!
And then
so he died, obviously.
Yeah. Fuck. I think when his group saw that he got stabbed, they all pretty much charged at the other group, and they all just ran away. But this dude knew he got stabbed. He just went like this. He like turned around and blood everywhere. Oh my god! I think someone counted. It was less than 12 seconds.
I mean, the neck, man. All you like major arteries and stuff. Like, good luck.
So my condolences to your family, by the way. Well, their family. It's just I saw it. I'm like that's hard to watch.
100%.
So again, I don't know if you want to see it, but it's
also worse when like it's also caught on video. Like it's worse, but it's also at least your evidence. But like it's also worse when it's caught on video and you're like, you have to relive that. Like that's hectic.
I don't know what happened to that guy. I wish I had Jamie from Joe Rogan to look stuff up, but like, I don't know what happened with him. But
did you see the other one where it was like the fighter with his girlfriend, and then there was like
that was amazing. I loved that. Yeah, that was sick. Yeah,
I was like, he handled himself super well. Like,
he went on a podcast afterwards, and he he just spoke about like how it was very basic, like self defense, and he says it's easier because they were drunk as well.
100%. Yeah.
So that chick that was with the other group, and she was like, my dad's a bodybuilder. I'm like, yeah, a bodybuilder, not a fighter. What the fuck?
Yeah. What do you think he's gonna do? Exactly.
Yeah. So it was that was one of the greatest videos I've ever seen. So
I agree.
But when I first moved to the December before I moved to Brisbane in 2015, I went out to the city with my mate Jared, and we're just like going out. I think we're just grabbing a couple drinks, and we're walking past the casino, like heading back to South Bank.
Oh, okay.
And right like at the corner of where the casino is before you get on the other side of the road where the bridge is, there was a group of guys like coming towards us, and mind you, it's just me and my friend Jared, like no one else, and there was like 5 of them.
Yeah,
I was just looking around. I wasn't even looking at this fucking dude, and one of them just grabbed me, and he said like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" and all this, and probably a good 15 seconds of him just grabbing me, and like his mates were trying to calm him down.
Yeah,
and I was like, dude, if I do anything here, I'm gonna get fucked up. And I'm like, dude, wasn't doing anything. Sorry. And then like, he put me down. Walked away, and he just kept on staring at me as we were walking away. And I'm like, yeah, that's fucked. And imagine if I saw that video of the dude in the valley before, then I would have been fucking even more terrified. So
that's hectic, hey.
Lot of crazy people out there. So
it's also, I feel there's a lot of people with a lot of like 2 things: big chips on their shoulders, and then a lot of big egos. And I think a lot of people, their bark is a lot worse than their bite.
Right. Yeah.
There's a lot of people where.
Sorry. I'm just thinking about certain people. I'm like, you would get fucked up.
Yeah, literally. Like they'll sit there and they'll talk about whatever they want to do, and then when the time comes, you can see like they're like a little bit scared. You're like, okay, like
Well, it's smart that what was it, Muay Thai that you got into?
Yeah.
I've never done that, so like I've watched a lot of MMA, I watched a lot of UFC, but I don't know MMA.
It's fucking great, man. Like I'll send you all the details of if you genuinely want to try it. I'll send you the guy that we go to, because he literally he trains with like Israel Adesanya, Alex Volkanovski. Like
really,
he literally just got back from Israel's camp. Like he was training with him.
Yeah.
The owner of this Muay Thai gym, so he's fucking insane.
I'm going to do that. That's sick. Because I saw Tai Tavasta. Is that how you say his name?
Yes.
Bam Bam. He was down at the Gold Coast yesterday training.
Yeah.
There's actually a videographer that I've followed for ages.
Mm-hmm.
Max, I think his name is. I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, he works with Izzy and Bam. And I'm like, I had no fucking idea.
Super cool, hey. Yeah. I mean, I've just got so much more into it now. Like, I just really enjoy the UFC sort of, even the, what's the Muay Thai? Like, one championships and all those and stuff as well. Like, just crazy. Like, those guys are brutal though. Like, and Muay Thai is like, when you're doing the just like general during the week stuff, it's not too bad, because like, although they tell you to like, it's like proper fighting. I mean, like we want you to punch to the head. Like, they don't use pads out here and shit like that, because if you hit someone out here, you're not gonna fucking hit them. Like, punch them in the head. But then when you do the sparring, it's just like I got a shock. Like, the first time I went to sparring, I was like, fuck, this is intense. Like, because you get everyone, and it's like sometimes you'll be like up against like a newbie like myself who was like the first time there, and then other times it'll be like against like people who have their like next pro fight next week sort of thing. But it's good because like they go obviously easy on you, and you get told to go like 30-40% power and speed and stuff. But it's still like, you've got pads on, you've got mouth guards, but it's still like fucking intense. And I'm like,
but they prepare you before they throw you into that, right?
100%. So they say you got to do a minimum of 2 months before you're even allowed to go, just you've got enough of to go to sparring. So sparring is every Wednesdays and Fridays, I think. So you have to go a minimum of 2 months, so you've got the basics down pat, and then from there you can opt in to go to those classes if you want.
And with sparring, it's just you and the other guy. There's no one else, like just like you two in the octagon.
No, whole class. Yeah. So it's a whole class, and it's just on the mats, and then you would literally just rotate between everyone and your partners and that. So you're actually getting a good variety of. So it'll be like, I think they only do 2 minutes instead of like 5-minute rounds or whatever, what a traditional fight would be. It's like 2 minutes, but then you'd rotate between each, like, I guess, person in the group.
Yeah.
But it's like super, it feels overwhelming just because it's something very new to you. And it's like the first time that you kind of get like hit in the face or like whatever. And you're like, okay, fuck, this is a bit of a shock to the system. But once you get used to it and you're like, I'm okay. Like they're not trying to kill me.
Yeah.
You're fine. And it's just about then honing that technique and honing in on those skills and being like, for me, it's taken so long in those like first couple of sessions of like not flinching when something's like so close to my face.
Yeah.
And you can literally get to the point now of like, I can be this far away from a punch and I'm like, okay, I'm fine because I know it's not going to like hurt, you know?
Yeah. So what have you learned the most from like, what you've been doing it since February, did you say?
Yeah.
What do you feel like you've learned the most from doing it so far?
I think the boxing element for me is where I love. Like if I had to choose like what type of fight I would love to do, it would have to be boxing. It's also because I feel since going there, I've been to a lot of the Muay Thai or MMA fights, and like not like as good as
fucking rough,
dude. It's hectic, and whether they win or lose, I've never had someone come out and not be hurt.
Okay,
like they've had broken ribs or a nose or fucked up shins or something like that. Like it's just hectic because like when you've got shin pads on and you're sparring, it's all well and good, but like when they're going like bone to bone, like shin to shin, like the inflammation and all that stuff that occurs is just next level. And I can only imagine like how bad it hurts because like there's still a bit
there's nothing there.
Literally,
it's like there's literally nothing there.
And like all the big like Thai people and stuff, like they condition themselves to all of this impact, so the fractures just happen over time. But then the time they're 21, they've got like this fucking steel leg that can't be like damaged.
That's rough.
But for us newbies, it's like a shock to the system, and you're like, wow. But it's great. Like it's honestly, it's so challenging. It like changes your mindset, I feel.
Does it make you feel more disciplined in any way?
100%. Yeah. It's just the things of like being able to just that self-control and that awareness of your body. And like I said, it's also just that general confidence in the fitness and everything like that of it as well. Like you walk around and you're like, okay, like I hope I never have to use this, but if I have to, I feel a lot more comfortable that, especially when, if you go to like a box fit class and they're going to throw you a combination and you know exactly what that combination is going to be.
Yeah.
But I feel with the sparring and what's great is that you really have to think for yourself and you really have to think about the other opponent. You don't know when they're going to throw a punch. You don't know if they're going to throw a punch. You don't know anything about them. So I think you really have to think about how to handle the situation. And I think that problem solving aspect is what I really like about it.
Yeah, right. Okay. No, I'm definitely going to come. Yeah.
But it's sick.
That sounds sick.
And you know what the best part is so Ben, the owner of the gym, so he trains with Izzy and that, he'll like then pull these fights up on the screen they have in there and he'll like break down literally how and why the certain things they did and how they work on the fights. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like,
wow. It
seems so like we just watch it and we're like, oh, that was a sick knockout.
Yeah.
In reality, they've been planning for that and they've like practiced all these moves to be able to get ready to like fuck that person up, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's what Izzy did in his last fight with Alex. He when he was up against the cage, I can't remember if I'm pretty sure he said like he knew that he was going to pretend like he was going to take the hit and then fucking crack. Yeah. Like that was amazing. I watched that at the pub. The place erupted. It was amazing.
So so the owner was basically the trainer and like he was one of the trainers for the kickboxing sort of Muay Thai element of Izzy's camp.
Yep.
And then he was also responsible for playing the Pereira or whatever it is for Izzy. So every time they would spar, he would have to mimic Pereira to then for Izzy to fight.
That's amazing.
And he would literally just watch hours and hours of Pereira to like mimic him and how he moves and how he thinks.
Does he do the bow and arrow before he hops into the octagon?
Every single time. Yeah.
I thought that was the greatest part about that fight was like he just fucking.
I know
that was amazing.
That was sick, and just even that speech at the end, like that.
Oh, it was amazing.
Epic.
I
just really like him as a guy. If you haven't already, he just came out with a podcast with Impulsive, and
I've watched like 15 minutes of it, and then I had to go do some stuff, but I do want to finish it. Yeah.
Very, very good.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to finish it off.
They're cool. They're just cool people. Like Israel and Alex, love them both.
Yeah,
very cool people.
Yeah. I really wanted Izzy to win that fight, like just because like I don't know. I feel like UFC's like their stars are kind of like all over the place, and I feel like we've kind of like got one of the stars back. Like
100%.
actually today I watched Conor McGregor might actually not be coming back to the UFC.
Yeah.
Like that was like literally 15 minutes before you came. It was Dana, because back in February he's like, "Yep, Conor's going to fight Michael Chandler at the end of the year," and now Dana's saying it's really tough to get people who are insanely rich back into the octagon, and it's like, oh.
We were talking about like the documentary and stuff as well. Hey,
We were, well, that's actually what I wanted to say when you talk about sparring, just seeing Connor's toe thing, where he broke his toe in the sparring like that. I actually didn't think he like copped that much damage in there. Like before I saw the documentary, I didn't realize that's how much damage he took when he was doing the sparring.
I think, and again, I can't speak for him because he's like a pro athlete and has all the top, the top physios, the top everything.
Yeah.
But like even for me, like I come home and like, if you block a punch on your forearms and things like that, and like your forearms are sore for like the next 2 days, your shins, if you've been blocking kicks all day, like sore. So I can only imagine when you're like training at that level that you're probably feeling a bit sore, but it's also like you've adjusted to that.
Yeah.
Like it's common now. So, but yeah, it's hectic. Like,
Yeah. Those shin leg kicks have become pretty big over the last 2 years maybe. And again with Conor in his second fight against Dustin Poirier, Dustin fucked his leg up, man. Like you saw it in the documentary actually. Yeah. So he walks in and his leg's just like this and it's like bright red and he had to pop it up like that. Like that's it's insane.
Dude, the shin kicks, they're like kicking to that side of the knee and just fucking that joint up, or any of like it's incredible. Like, it's so weird. People just don't understand. They watch the UFC fight, but until it actually happens to you, like people are like, oh yeah, like a calf kick. There's nothing to that. It literally goes through your entire leg and it hurts and it throbs and it like just fills with blood basically. So it's just so painful to be like on it.
Yeah.
But
what's the most damage that you've copped so far?
I mean, there's been nothing so far. Like you get a couple of like punches in the head or something like that, but it's like, it's also kind of my fault. I can't blame them. Like they're told to punch to the head and I couldn't block it. So it's like, it's kind of inflicted on myself.
But they got the gloves on, don't they?
100%. So you have to wear 16-ounce gloves in it. So like I say that, it doesn't really hurt. Like it just feels like you've just had a bit of a pressure to your head basically.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like then I'm sitting there thinking like, if you use like, I think it's like 6-ounce gloves or something they use with just the knuckles or whatever it is, or 4-ounce or something. And like you're hitting someone with that. And as hard as you can, like they're trying to kill the other person essentially in that octagon. I'm like, that would fucking hurt.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, obviously I haven't done it yet, so I don't know. But like you were saying before, it's like if it's one thing for people to say, oh, that looks a bit rough, and it's like, no, it actually fucking is.
Yeah.
So.
It's also the same thing of you can say, oh yeah, if anyone ever breaks in, like I'm gonna fuck them up. But until it actually happens and you're in that situation, no one ever really knows like what's gonna happen, or in a fight or whatever.
Yeah. I've had a few nights here. I don't think anyone's actually tried to break in. Like we have possums, so it's really bad. Like, I'll be like slaving out here across the roof. Yeah. But the idea of someone breaking in does terrify the fuck out of me. But again, I don't know what I would do. I really don't know. Yeah. It's very difficult. I'm obviously not trying to describe details about my house, but I feel like it's kind of hard to get in. Like there's,
I would agree.
Yeah, we were actually broken into. If you can see, there's bars there. About 15 years ago, this house was broken into. Yeah. And because this is my grandparents' house, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we're actually out here in the lounge room watching TV. And we're all out here, thank God, because while we were here, someone actually jumped the railing, grabbed my grandparents' wallets and just left. Wow. And then they found my grandfather's wallet like a suburb away in a bin. What? How they found it, I have no idea.
Oh, actually, I have a story for you. Yeah. I'm technically not meant to talk about it because we got told we weren't allowed to, but I'm going to tell you. If you want. No, I'm
just say it, yeah.
So I shot a house last week on Monday or Tuesday. Very, very, very nice house on the river near Yeronga area. Yep. And it's from... Okay, I gotta be careful how I word it here. But essentially, the house is essentially like a compound, like where they've got huge 3-meter concrete walls, like good fucking luck getting into this house, basically. Yeah. Full state-of-the-art security, CCTV, you name it, all state-of-the-art. But there is one part of the house that is very easy to get into because essentially it's all glass. Okay. Anyway, so the people who own this house are they're the princess and Prince of the Philippines.
Wow.
So
Okay.
very, very, very wealthy, like very wealthy. And so this house is there because she married to an Australian fella. So they're very, very wealthy, and they also have a house here in Australia, which is this house, and then they've got a house over in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Or a castle, I should say.
Yeah.
A house, castle.
Same thing.
Yeah. But essentially, so they went over to the Philippines, and they had a friend looking after the house. And before he went to work one day, he accidentally left the sliding. So when they part of their showers over there is they shower outdoors, and they left the sliding door to the shower outdoors accidentally open.
Yeah.
And somehow someone knew about this somehow.
Yeah. Sounds like an inside job.
This is what I'm sort of thinking as well, right? And was able to get dropped off by boat from the river, come
This is a
up.
fucking heist you're talking about.
Literally,
Jesus.
I don't know how it's like fucking Mission Impossible planned out. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, snuck up. Literally, almost knew where the cameras were, even where they were able to avoid like they were seen, like they could see like his bottom half, but they could never see his face until he got in the house. He stole everything in all these like backpacks that he had for like hiking and stuff. So huge, big backpacks.
Yeah.
Stole a bunch of stuff, and then stole the car as well that was in the garage, and then drove off. But because the car had an air tag in it, they were able to track him down. Anyway, so it turns out they went to Woolloongabba, and they found this address of Woolloongabba that the car was at. And they go in there, and it was a house full of the most luxe stuff, full to the roof of all different sorts of things for like brand new everything and that. So apparently this is a house that several criminals will then bring back all of the stuff to it. So they'll bring back, all the stuff that they've stole, thousands and thousands of dollars worth. And the police obviously raided this house. They found it, but they couldn't find the guy. He was gone. So they're trying to find this guy and everything like that. And then apparently there's a police call over the radio when they were at this apartment searching through all the shit, being like, there's a report of this guy in someone's front yard trying to unlock the car and steal the car of this house. And it's like a Cooperoo, so just the next suburb down. So the police go and investigate it, and it matches the description of the guy they had on the cameras who stole the car at the Yunga. This all happened in the night. So this was like,
Oh, wow. Okay.
literally happened. It's crazy. Like by 2 a.m. the next morning, the whole thing had been solved. Like,
Wow.
Yeah,
So,
so
they
they-
got the guy?
yeah, so they went and then they got the guy, and then obviously arrested him and blah blah blah. But hectic.
Oh my God. So the house that he robbed, the one that like he arrived to by boat, that's the one you filmed.
I filmed that literally like 3 days before it got robbed, and originally we had to go in to get like questioned and everything because they thought literally the same
was
thing
you.
of like
Yeah.
it was us.
Was it you? No,
Because
okay.
we were one of the only peoples prior to who had ever been in the house. Like the house was essentially brand new, and there was only like a handful of people that had ever been in the house because they wanted it very under the wraps.
Yeah. When did the video go live? Had the video gone out since?
Video still hasn't gone live.
Oh, okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like, how fucking crazy would that be if, like, if the video went live, the video showed them where everything was.
Not allowed. So even with the video is so strict on what we were actually allowed to show. Like even some of the shots that I had in there that I thought were going to be okay because we had such strict guidelines, I actually had to remove.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even for real estate. It was literally for smart home technology to be able to showcase all the cool tech they had in the house.
Yeah.
We had to remove a lot of angles because they're like, that's too revealing. Dude, literally had to like go in and like, for example, we did like an establishing shot of the front of the house.
Yeah.
There's an electrical box with like a code on it. I had to remove the code on the electrical box or change the numbers, which is what I did. So I changed the digit so they couldn't, just because they were like freaking out about this, Yeah.
That sounds very suspicious that they knew when they weren't going to be there. They knew the door wasn't going to be
Yeah. So
unlocked. And they like, yep, we're arriving by boat. Like, that's very sus.
it's crazy. So, when you come to my house next, I've got this amazing Filipino.
Oh, man, you should have been there. It was
I
fucking
shouldn't-
wild.
yeah, I
Had the
shouldn't
cops chasing us and everything.
No, I shouldn't joke about it, but it was it was crazy.
This doesn't involve anyone getting robbed, but it does involve a funny story about a property I filmed. Not going to name the people who I worked with, but I was booked in to do photography it was photography for a property, which I don't do. Like I video guy. Unless someone really wants photos, I'll do it. So I go in, and there's a property. Oh, this might be a bit of a dead giveaway. There's a property in West End that I did photography for, and I did it, and then like gave it to the agent, and that's all she wrote. Cool. 2 weeks later, another client that I work with, completely unrelated, different agency, they booked me in for 3 back-to-back videos, and we do the first 2 videos. I'm like, yep, cool. We're just going to go to the last one. And I'm like, what's the address? They send it to me and I pop it in. I'm like, yep, cool. Drive. And I'm like, oh, this is a familiar street.
Yeah.
Pull up. It's the same fucking house I filmed not even a week prior.
Wow.
And I walked in and I felt so uncomfortable. And I'm like, because when I did the photography, it was unfurnished. Yeah. And then I walked into this thing's like furnished like to the max. Yeah, yeah. And I'm like walking around getting the shots, and I'm just like, I don't know if I should tell them or yeah. And then I think I told the not the original agent, because I felt bad because they've obviously lost that listing. Yeah. But I think I eventually told the second agency that got me in, just say, hey, I just need to get this off my chest. I've already filmed this house before. Yeah. So it was just one of those really bizarre situations where I've had to film a house twice.
Yeah, awkward. So especially with 2 different people, and you're like, oh, this is weird.
I can't. I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot of things that like could happen for people to lose listings. So
100%. Yeah, but I mean, there's a couple. Have you ever had anyone blame you for losing the listing? Because I've had, there was one client I had, and like, again, not to shit on any clients, but I remember they blamed me, and because of the video, and the video didn't highlight enough of the key factors about the property, and that's why they didn't sell the house. And you're like, is it though?
No, I don't think so.
I was like,
but even then, that's really rude.
I know. It has nothing to do where your asking price for this house is $11 million and what you're probably going to get for it is 7.5 or 8. Yeah. It has nothing to do with that. But
should I say, did you do your job? I did mine. That's really bizarre. No.
And then same thing happened where, go shoot for that client. And then it was like the year after or something like that, get the call back from the agent, another agent, to then come back and do another video, but with them basically doing the exact same thing from the last agent, like to do that house. Okay. Yeah. Well, very similar. So we had to, it was very weird.
There was an apartment that I filmed about 2 years ago. It was a 3-bedroom house, very standard. And it took me 4 hours to film because
why?
Yeah. So it wasn't an agent. It was the property developer that was there. And let's say like I film a bedroom, get in, get my shot. Mm-hmm. Oh, hey man, can I have a look at that? Shot. Oh, sweet. Get it from another angle. Oh, let's see how that went.
I hate that.
Do that for every fucking shot that I didn't. I shit you not. I was doing some work through a marketing agency, and the guy was there, and I just kept on giving him looks, and he was well aware.
Yeah, same page.
About what this, he was like. So yeah, that was excruciating. And then they asked me to come back and do it again because they weren't happy. So the tide was out when they did it, and I'm just like, you're not even going to see the tide in the video unless I really focus on it. You're not going to see it. And they asked, can you come back and film it with the tide? And I'm like, sure. So we go in like the next day and it's raining, and I'm just like, I didn't know. Like I was calling so many people. I'm like, are we still doing it? As I'm driving there. Yeah. And then, because that was over when I was at Forest Lake, and this was over in Wynnum. Oh, so that's a bit of a. I mean, it's across town, but it's a bit of a hike just to get there. So yeah. But yeah, I don't like it when people want to see every shot that I do in a video. That's just frustrating. So
I totally agree, and it's like I'm at the point now where if I think the shot is that fucking cool, I'm probably going to show you.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm
like, bro, you got to come check this out. Like, this looks sick. Like, how good does it look? You know, whatever it may be. If it's with a model, I'll be like, wow, it looks so good. It elevates like this. And the last thing you want to do as well is like, you're already shooting this house with like an agent or a property developer that like you're not exactly best mates with. The last thing you want to do is have him over your shoulder with his hot little man breath on the back of your neck. While you're trying to shoot your camera. Like, so I'll send you a video that I listened to the other day, but they've definitely come down. Like even for example, like I'd love to get the Komodo. Like
you were saying that to me when you were showing me the studio. Remember?
Yeah, I'd love to get it, but it's still, I think it's like 11,000 or something. But then you got to spend like another $8,000 to then kit it out properly to get like the handles and all that, because they have to be red.
Yeah.
Specific.
Do you follow Corridor Digital? Or,
Yes.
They did a video years ago, maybe like 2015 or something, and they have red, but they showed all the parts, all the accessories are third party. They're not dedicated red. And it's like, and they compared, so like the hard drive is, you know, $200-300 compared to what, $5,000 or something like
ridiculous.
that. Like it's a massive difference. So
yeah. Oh, even like you can get like an external monitor, but then you have to like pay a licensing fee to be able to have the red, like to be able to operate the red interface through that. And so, because red have got like this tiny little screen on them, on the Komodo at least. And then if you wanted to use like the interface properly, like you would with like the red, what do you call it? Monitor, that you have to pay, it's something ridiculous, like $1,200 to be able to just get the license to then be able to, whatever monitor you plug in, to be able to use the touch face interface for the red.
No fucking
way.
way.
And there's like literally like little cables that are like 15 centimeters long that you plug in to your camera, to your monitor.
Yeah.
And they're like $500. And it's just the ability to be able to, have that interface connection. And like, it's ridiculous. It adds up really quick. Yeah. The record button on like, the side hand grip, absorbently expensive.
Like, how much was that? Do you know?
Oh, I can't remember, but it was up there. Like I'm talking like $900 or something.
That's like just to press record.
Literally,
that's insane. I really like Blackmagic because like with their products, like you buy like I don't know, like you buy like a field monitor. Depending on which one you get like DaVinci Resolve for free, like the paid version for free.
So this is what I was just about to say. I'll send you this video if you haven't seen it. But there is they're talking about. Do you know why no other camera on the market is able to have internal compressed RAW recording?
No.
So Red have a patent that they're the only people that are allowed to do it.
No fucking way.
And it
really?
And it blocks. So, for example, they just taken to court a few years ago Sony, because Sony wanted to come out with 16-bit raw video internal compressed in their cameras, and they couldn't do it because Red owned the patent saying you can't do this. If you do, we'll sue the shit out of you. And they lost. So Sony lost. So Red pretty much do it. Any other company that tries to do it. But then you're probably thinking, okay, well, Blackmagic have raw internal recording. How do they do it?
Yes, yeah.
They invented that before Red, so they're able to keep it.
Oh.
It was crazy. So they started introducing that into their cameras before Red did. So then because of that, they're able to keep their recording. And it also, the way it's compressed is different to how Red do it. Like Red have found like the most efficient, best way to be able to have raw internal recording, but not lose any quality. Whereas I think there's something else that happens on the Blackmagic end. But what's really exciting about this is Nikon recently introduced RAW recording into their video camera line, like the Z9s or whatever it is. And Red are like, we're going to take you to court.
Yeah.
Nikon won.
Oh, really?
Nikon won.
How did they get that?
And this is what every other company is asking right now. So now Sony and all these other companies have gone to Nikon and be like, what did you say in court to be able to get Red to settle? And so for you guys to be able to use RAW, because they've got RAW compressed recording internally on the Nikon cameras now, and no other camera's been allowed it. So now there might be this potential. Like imagine if like a Sony FX4 or something comes out and it's got raw internal recording, like 16-bit, fucking game changer.
Yeah, dude.
Like insane.
That's I had no idea.
Yeah, I'll send you the video because it explains it way better than that jumbled shit I just explained.
Yeah. But no, that was great. I just had no idea. Wow, that's cool.
But because I always wondered, I'm like, why is no one coming out with this? Because obviously we've seen how the technology, it can happen. Yeah. And it turns out, there's like illegally, they can't do anything about it. So,
fucking Red, of course.
Yeah. It's clever.
Yeah. I like Blackmagic products, but fuck, it's hard. It'd be hard for me to jump to like a Pocket Cinema or something like that. Because I just love Sony's. Like Sony's they're my babies.
Like I was looking at the 6K Pro.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the 6K, but then it's also got the built-in ND into it, which is what I really, really liked. But yeah, the same thing, man. Then when I figured then I got to try and switch all my lenses over, then I got to try and, like, the battery life is terrible, then the SSD on it, and it just escalated real quick. And I was like, now I'm going to be out way more money than if I was to just buy an FX3.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, the FX3 does have the built-in ND filters, right?
I don't think it does it?
There is a Sony. What's the Sony?
FX6 does, I know.
Hang on.
If it did, like,
No, my
that'd
mate. Yeah. Oh God, who's trying to call me? Oh fuck. Hang on. Actually, no, I'm not calling you back, Gilly. If you're watching this, because I know you'll be watching this, I'm not calling you back. No, my mate Josh over in Adelaide, he runs a production company as well.
yeah.
And there's maybe I'm thinking of a different camera.
The FX6 has built-in electronic ND.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he said that's one of the reasons why he got it.
I've heard same people do the same thing with the C70, and they've still got complaints about it, like the Canon C70.
Oh, okay. What complaints?
It's like a big chunky camera, but it still looks very DSLR-y
Yeah.
in its looks. And yes, same thing. People like they've rocked up the set and they'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's what you're shooting on." I'm like, "Do you know how fucking powerful this camera is?"
Yeah.
Like,
Well, like that camera, dude. Like the A7S III. Like it's
100%.
It's like you have no fucking idea how fucking good this camera is.
literally.
It's yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna say, and like technically, if we wanted to, heck, we could probably we can rig it out and make it look ginormous if
Yeah.
we really wanted to. But it's like,
I feel like there's a fine line between like, I want it to look good. It's like wanting to look, really big, buff professional, but like half the shit is so unnecessary. Like
100%.
I rock up with like what you see there and like a gimbal and like a Boya mic.
Yes, yeah.
And that's it. That's all I rock. It's like, I don't need anything else.
I'm the same. The only thing I have is I have a cage on mine just because I'm scared. I'm gonna like drop it.
Oh yeah, dude. So the reason why I got we're recording this on the A7S III for anyone who's fucking wondering. The reason why I got that was because I shot a property video for a client of mine, Celine, who lovely agent to work with, but her audio was fucked. I'm like, it's got to be the microphone. No way would it be the audio jack in my A7 III.
Yeah.
So we reshoot it at the front of my house because sometimes she likes to come around and she used to, we like sit down, like we can work the edit because it's a lot easier just to smash out the edit just that way.
Yeah.
And we reshot it again and we were like, put it in. We started putting it together. The audio still shit. I'm like, I think it's the camera. And like we're recording, and like, I can't remember how we figured it out, but I realized that it was the audio jack.
Oh, fuck.
So like, I think we had to use like a phone and we recorded. It was really dodgy the way we did it.
Yeah.
But like she left, sent the video to her. I went straight to Camera House over in Carindale and bought this. It's like I don't want to spend $4,500, but like I can't deal with what I just deal with just then.
Mine happened on a job when I did that.
Oh.
So I was down the Gold Coast actually shooting for Sam Wicks.
Yep.
And we had her like weekend away that she was doing with all of her clients, like this big and powerful like photo shoot thing. And I was filming the whole entire behind the scenes. And I didn't have headphones or anything, but I could see like there was always this little bit of like feedback and this noise in the bottom portion of the mic, but there was no one speaking. I'm like, fucking what is that? Anyway, I got back into the edit. There is this hum through the entire thing. Even when people are speaking, it's just like this little...
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, oh my God. So I literally had to throw... I was like, this mic's fucked. So I threw the mic out and then went and bought like another, just a cheaper. It was like a Rode Video Mic Go 2 or something.
Yeah.
Got that and now it works absolutely perfect, which is great. But now I had to like sit for hours and try and finesse and play around with like low passes and high passes, just trying to find this little fucking frequency. And then I gave up and then I put it through Adobe AI.
I was about to say, is this before you knew about that? Or?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then I put it through the podcast AI thing and it didn't work. Actually, that was the first time it hasn't worked for me.
Oh, okay.
Properly.
Could you still hear the...
It got rid of the noise, but then it started dropping off, I guess, a certain frequency of word when the girls would speak. Like if they went too high or they started a word off too high, it would drop it off. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck. Like,
you know what the number one complaint I've gotten from using that is people love it. They're like, the audio sounds great. But some people, if they do not speak clearly, it makes them sound like they have a lisp.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. I shouldn't say that, but like, I sent it to a client about a week or 2 ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I said, hey, tell me which one you prefer. This is the one with audio fix, and this is just you being you. And they didn't say anything to me. So I'm like, I'm just going to roll with the fix one. And then as I started putting it together, I'm like, she actually this doesn't sound right. Yes. And then she called me, Lucy, lovely girl. She called me and she's like, hey, why do I sound like I have a lisp? I'm like, it's a thing that I can fix it. We'll just go back to the normal audio. And she's like, oh, okay. I just wasn't too sure if that's what I sound like. And I'm like, no, it's not. You're fine.
Imagine just finding out you have a lisp
On
on camera.
Oh, that'd be fucking funny. But yeah, like we got it sorted. But yeah, that's probably been the number one complaint. It's amazing. Seriously, it's worked so well.
I agree. The only like I said, the only downfall, that was the only time it hasn't worked for me. But also, when are they just going to introduce it as a feature that's going to be built into Premiere? Like, come on now.
Da Vinci's got it.
I know, this is exactly what I mean. Like, it could be implemented so easy and like with an update. Like, just
it really could be. Yeah,
like,
I actually thought it was. I thought it's like a plugin that you could get.
Maybe I'm
just making that up. You know what? Like, I will say, like Premiere has what DaVinci doesn't, which is that. What's that Pod Pro plugin you got to buy, and it cuts camera A to camera B?
So that's another thing I've had issues with as well. Like editing some of the podcasts that, like,
I was going to say, because you said you're going to use it, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I don't know how the AI works or something, but I've really struggled to make it work. It worked for like one thing that I tried, but yeah, for everything after that. But yeah, but basically what it is it's essentially an AI plugin that can do like a multicam podcast edit for you in like seconds.
Wow.
And so you register all the people talking. So then you've got like, for example, Sam's close up, Jaiden's close up, and then like all speakers. And then from there, it will go through and dice it up based on who's speaking. It knows like to cut back to you if you've got like little nods and things like that. It just knows.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. And then you can even change like how frequently you want it to do it. So if you want it to hold on like, I don't know, the wide shot longer, you can tell it to hold on the wide shots longer and things like that.
Yeah.
And then only cut when there's like real important things that it deems important or something.
Yeah.
And then, so there's that. And then there's also another feature in the program now they've just introduced where it can cut out all the dead silence and ums. So any like ums or dead silence, it can cut out. For me, it didn't necessarily work the best because it cuts too much out to the point of where it's almost like very jump cutty, where you're basically starting the next sentence ASAP. So it's like, it cuts out all that, like the breathing room of everything, so everything's very like to the point. So for me, I didn't really use it. But if you're like editing like a YouTube video or something, or like you want like a reel and you want it to be like straight to the point and cut out everything, perfect.
Okay.
But it is expensive as well. It's also like, I think,
is it 30 USD?
30 USD a month. But I only tried it for the month, and whether I'm going to keep going because it hasn't really worked for me, but I also think I'm not using it right.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll depend on like how often you're going to use it. That's something I look into.
Like for me, I think you actually need like a 3 camera setup. That's what you need. And you need those angles. Because for me, all I'm doing is like, I've got a 4K camera that's one angle and then duplicating it 3 times and like
just cropping in.
Yeah. And I think it knows that. And that's what's fucking it up. Even if I nest those sequences to be able to be like, okay, this is the ratio of that now. Yeah. Still doesn't, it just fucks up for some reason.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did a podcast with a guy named Josh Badaladasi, who's also a videographer.
Yeah.
I actually think he's a real estate agent now. I'm not sure.
Funny that.
Yeah. You either die a videographer or you live long enough to become a real estate agent. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the only podcast I had a 2 camera setup for. And yeah, the editing of that was a fucking nightmare. Just like going back and forth and like listening, and I'm like, oh, I've got to cut it there, trim this. It sucks. Yeah. So when I do see the Premiere doing it by itself, it's like a bit tempting to do that.
I agree. And I think same thing again with every other AI. Like once it improves and it's learned off everyone using it, it's just going to get better.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. That's Aaron. Once I cut out messy running around everywhere, it'll be like an hour
105.
Yes. But dude, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. You'll have to come on when we actually have the studio properly fitted out downstairs.
I'd be so keen. I'm excited.
I want it to be done soon because there's a lot of people I want it. I'd rather get it done now and have the podcast look nice than do it in my lounge room. But dude, thank you for coming on. Where can people find your socials and your businesses and stuff like that? Yeah, so personal, and I share a lot of content on there too, is at Have You Met Jaiden across all socials, and YouTube as well. And then feel free to check out my businesses. We are Luxe Studios on Instagram and at _Shareworthy. But yeah, head over there. Feel free, check us out. We'd love to hear from you. Sweet. All right. Thank you for that, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.